What's happening now, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this exclusive YouTube content brought to you, as always, by Paul Martin Menswear. My name is Dee Curran, and I'm about to sit down with a central defender who played with Derry City from the 2011 season right to the end of the 2013 season. He made 69 appearances at centre-back, scoring 3 goals, including an FAI Cup final equaliser in 2012 against St Patrick's Athletic. On commentary in 2012, Big Gringo described him on Drive 105 as when he goes for the tackle, it comes hard. Sorry, Gringo, I love you, but I just had to tell that story. I'm so sorry. I hope you're all sitting comfortably because I'm about to get Derry Nostalgic with Stewart Greacen. Just to rewind, December 2010, you're released from your contract at Greenock Morton, where you were employed there since 2003 after having a loan spell. Signed for Derry in February after a trial at Dundee. Do you remember who it was and when you were first approached about the move to Derry City?
Pretty much. I'd left Morton in the December. I had to leave before the 1st of January so that I was able to become like a free agent. A few clubs as well, and then I went and trialled at Dundee. Dundee had a transfer embargo placed on them at the time, so they were just going through a points deduction of administration, and that kind of lingered on. So I was able to play 3 games as a trialist for them. After that, you then had to sign permanently. So that's where I was playing and training there. And at that time, I think I'd maybe played 1 game in trial. And at that time, in contact from Derry with Stephen Kenny. I think it came about through Stephen was possibly in the market looking for a centre half at the time. And I think he'd spoken to Derek McInnes, who recommended myself. He must have been asking who was maybe out of contract. And Derek had mentioned my name. And that's when Stephen had got in contact and basically got the ball rolling for there.
Did you seek advice from anybody about the league to find out what it was like?
I knew in the past players that I'd played with, like John Robertson. He was my coach at Livingston, and he had great things to say about it. Dave McEwen, goalkeeper. I played with Big Davey back in the day as well. I knew a few other boys. Everybody that I spoke to or whatever was very positive about Derry City. Also, it was a wee bit of a grey area in terms of the club had went through a bit of a troubled time and had went down a division but came back up. So that was obviously something to consider. But everything that I'd spoke about and everybody was very positive about it.
The narrative from people in this country is that if you become a player and you're playing with Derry City and you get a move to Britain, it's a step up. But did you feel going the other direction, it was a step down?
No, I genuinely didn't. I'd seen a bit of Irish football and the Satanta as it was at that time back here in Scotland, and you see like some of the results in Europe and things like that. I was a wee bit in the data. I knew obviously players that went over. I was quite surprised in terms of when I went over how good the standard was. I actually felt there's a lot more football played in Ireland, but I think perception of it is it's just about as Route 1 sometimes as maybe the kind of lower leagues in Scotland or whatever, but I certainly didn't find that when I went over. I felt it was really good, and the standard and the technical side of it was pretty good. Stephen
was your manager in the first season that you were here. What did you think of him as a manager?
Stephen was brilliant. Absolutely loved playing under Stephen. It was a great year. We had a really good season that year. So obviously first year back in the league, it was a pretty. I know a lot of the players had played with Derry, the club before, but maybe went away, like Rory Higgins, Gareth McEleney, etc., and brought kind of guys back. That was a fantastic team, probably as good a team as I'd played in my career. And I was disappointed to see Stephen go, and it was good. I think he deserved a move. As I say, from a personal point of view, I was disappointed that he'd left.
You touched upon it that they just got promoted into the Premier Division at the time, but they went on a league challenge. Did you think it was ambitious, either overly or otherwise, that they were aiming so high in their first year back?
I personally kind of felt that a wee bit. When a team comes into the league, yourself a lot of times it's like, kind of, can we consolidate here? After a few training sessions and a few games and whatever, and you've seen the quality that was in the squad and stuff like that, it was certainly a team that was capable of putting a good challenge for the league, and we certainly done that up to the last few games of the season. We're kind of there or thereabouts. Obviously, Shamrock Rovers just over the line in the end up, but I thought we'd done really well to finish as high up as the league. So it was a strong league, Sligo were starting to put their mark on the league as well, and St Pat's were strong as well. So it was a really tough league.
You had 2 kids playing beside you from time to time. The first one, Shane McEleney, he had been there a couple of seasons, but What memories do you have of Shane?
Shane was brilliant. I really enjoyed playing with Shane. Shane was probably a bit quicker than myself and stuff like that. So I felt it was a partnership with we were not a bad foil for each other. I was quite liked going and defending and stuff like that, enjoying that kind of side. And Shane was very comfortable on the ball, stepping into the play. Shane was really good for myself, and hopefully I was good for Shane in that point of view.
There was a game in June or July in front of the TV in the Brandywell. Derry City won the game 1-0. People may not remember it for the actual result or whatever, but what they do remember it was the coming of age game for Ryan McBride. It was the one that put him out there in the limelight in front of everybody else. What can you tell us about Ryan and the first time you met him?
What you seen with Ryan is what you got. He was committed, a great lad, and obviously tragic what was happened to Ryan. What a great lad Ryan was. He was quiet, went about his business well, and one of the kind of players, the old saying goes, you would take to the trenches with you. You knew you were getting out of Ryan, and I think fans love that. Irish fans, I think, are a bit like Scottish fans. They love to go and see players that are committed, whether it's tackles or going and winning headers and stuff, to see nice football played. But when they go and see somebody make a good tackle, strong tackle, or a header or something like that, they feed off of that as well.
At that stage, did you ever imagine that he would be a future leader in the changing room for Derry City?
You can see guys like Ryan, they don't always need to be that vocal and stuff like that, but I think Ryan kind of led by example in the way that he played the game, with his aggression and stuff like that. And I think there's a couple of different captains. There's ones that are pretty vocal, that maybe are a bit more technical, and then you've got other people, Ryan, and go and just lead by example in the way they do things. And I felt he was like that.
You spoke of Rovers already. We had chased them close to the title for most of the season, and then there was that one night in Tala. Rowan Ricketts took advantage of an error that gave them 3 points to Rovers. Is it a memory that still lingers in your head?
Aye, it is. I know. I still have a bit of nightmares with that one. I can still see it as if it was yesterday, just the blindside run, and didn't see he was there. And it was unfortunate. We went behind with that goal, and we couldn't get back into the game, and that was a big ask again to go. And I think we still had to go to St Pat's, which we've done, where we got a point down there with Bohemians in the last day. But it would have been nice to have went down there to Rovers and have won and took it even deeper into the last few games. But yeah, it wasn't to be, as I say. Fortunately, I made the mistake for the goal, which wasn't great.
That season, you did go down to Cork for a cup final, which you had come back with the trophy. You hadn't played in the previous rounds, but you played in the final. Was that your first ever senior final? It
was. I had got to a couple of semi-finals. Obviously, when you play in Scotland, unless you're with Rangers and Celtic, you don't get many opportunities to play in cup finals. So that was really good. As I say, missed the early rounds, a couple of favourable draws early on, and rotated the squad, and boys had done fantastic to get the final. So to play in an occasion like that was superb, and that's what I really enjoyed about playing over in Ireland for the 3 years, because it gave you opportunities that you didn't really get in Scotland in terms of going and competing for trophies. We competed for the league, and as you say, in the first year. So that was a great night. The first thing I found strange was that it was a cup final and it was played in somebody's home venue. That was certainly quite a strange one. But Cork were a good side. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I was saying they were a first division side at that time. They weren't in the Premier League, I'm pretty sure. But they were a strong Cork side. I think they maybe came up that year. It's never going to be an easy game. Better than me going down there to not an easy venue. So I don't think it was much a game, but I remember Big Eamon getting the goal. We deserved it on the night. So yeah, it was brilliant to get the first trophy and made it an enjoyable trip up the road.
2 other final appearances in 2012. First in the Oval in the penalty defeat the Crusaders. First of all, what did you think of the All-Ireland competition Setanta Cup?
That was brilliant. That was actually one of the first times that I'd seen that was on the Setanta. I'd seen properly live. It was a cross-border competition like that from back here, and they always like tasty occasions, and I certainly found that out myself. The Linfield game was en route to that, was one of the best I'd played in as well. It was a great rivalry, and 2 fantastic nights up at Windsor and then back at the Brandywell. Thoroughly enjoyed the games. Unfortunately, I missed the final. I was injured. A few people out. Game, it could have went either way, I certainly felt we had a wee bit more quality than Crusaders, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. I think it's pretty sad that it's now not getting played.
After that stage of the season, Derry City went on a bit of a dip over the summer months, but then gained some momentum, got to the FAI Cup final, and a very thrilling game it was as well over St Patrick's Athletic. Yeah. What was it like playing in Lansdowne Road, or the Aviva as it is now?
That was fantastic. First time I'd been there in that as well. And you're right, we took a wee dip, but I think there was mitigating circumstances as well. We had a few injuries around about that kind of time as well. By the time the cup final came round, we'd get some players back, and it was a great occasion. Just everything that you'd expect for a cup final, even the trip down and week leading up to it, with the open training session and stuff like that at the stadium, fans coming in, so you got the sense of the build-up, going to get your suit and things, and then going down, and it was a brilliant occasion.
You scored the equaliser to make it 1-1. Do you remember much about the goal?
I do, I remember much of, although I say that actually at first, that wasn't until later on that I thought it was a corner, but it was a wide free kick, so I was kind of a bit muddled up with that. But no, it was great. I think it was an important time to get back in the game. We'd also just lost a good goal. Free kick was a cracking goal for their point of view. So I think the first half was pretty nervy, it was pretty scrappy the first half, but the second half opened up, so it was good to reply so soon after it, and also from a personal point of view to get a goal was stuff that dreams are made of, really, and it's great to get a goal, and then we managed to go in front after that, and we were a bit disappointed not to see it out in 90 minutes, but no, it was a cracking second half in extra time.
Rory Patterson came off the bench to score 2 goals. He voiced his opinion on the matter of the fact that he started from the bench. Were you all surprised that he started from the bench that day?
It was. I mean, Declan had a few headaches, selection-wise. Rory Higgins as well, had been a mainstay, and Rory Patterson were both on the bench. He did have a lot of decisions to think of before the game, so we were a squad really that season, everybody played their part that year, and that the final was no different. Even myself had to come off. I was riddled with cramp. I couldn't move in extra time, so and Big Ryan came on for me and done brilliantly as well. So you've 3 players like that to come off the bench, Big Ryan, Rory Higgins and Rory Patterson, and he took his goals really well. I wouldn't mind that with a manager, making a wee point, which is what you want to see. There's no point somebody coming on and sulking. So Rory went on and done brilliant getting the goals.
There's a photo at full time. I actually went looking for it this evening and couldn't find it. It is of you and Barry Molloy, and the two of you are looking at one another like I would look at a bag of money eggs. Was there a big bromance going on there or something, Stuart?
Barry's a great lad, and again another great player and a great lad, and I got on really well with Barry. Still hear from him from time to time, and I know he had his prize 40th birthday party there last year. I was part of the group chat, so it was nice to get a bit of banter back and forth again. But yeah, again, Barry is like a lot of the lads, loved the club and gave everything. So before
the 2012 season started, you'd actually left to sign for Glentoran. You remained there for a few months before returning. Why did you leave, and what convinced you to come back?
I never ever wanted to leave Derry City, but as you know, it's like 1-year contracts kind of thing, and then Stephen Kenny had left, so everything was really kind of left in limbo, and I know I had a pretty good season. I felt the club would have been wanting me back, but it was dragging on further and further, and I had contact from a few teams here in Glentoran as well. Took the option to go to Glentoran, but when I think about it now, it was ideal if you were wanting like a kind of easier time of it, if you know what I mean. I was signing with Queen of the South here in Scotland 2 days a week and then just flying over for the game. So on paper, it sounds really good, but after a couple of games, I just didn't feel that it was working for me. I just felt like a bit of a stranger in the changing room. No, through any of the boys were brilliant and stuff like that, and the manager as well. Manager actually got sacked after the second game, so that didn't help either. And then I'd made the decision, because that was coming towards the end of January, so I made this decision to go in and see the board and just say, listen, this isn't really what I'm looking for. I'm still looking to play full-time football. If we could maybe rip the contract up, and they were good enough for me to do that, and I can't speak highly enough of them. They could have made it awkward for me, but they didn't. They allowed me to tear up my contract, which then allowed me to sign for someone after the transfer window, and that's when Declan had then been appointed, and I'd went back and signed a 2-year deal for the end. So I was delighted to come back to Derry, as I say, only left just because the way it was dragging on, in terms of we couldn't wait forever, It worked out well in the end.
Your final season, you only featured 11 times before departing. I remember you had a knee issue. Was it difficult to motivate yourself during that time?
It was frustrating, because I came back and thinking it was only maybe 3-4 games in new season. I remember it was away to Drogheda. I think that's a lost 2-0 and not up for a challenge with the goalkeeper. Just kind of an innocuous challenge. Ball was up in the air and I just climbed to try and win the header, and he won it. And the way I landed, I'd done my knee. Unfortunately, I had to get an operation, which put me out for a wee while, and then that disrupted it a bit from that point of view. So it was disappointing to pick up an injury. So just get back to a bit of fitness and pre-season. I was looking forward to the seasons.
Was that the key factor behind you having to depart the club?
I think so in the end up, yeah, because I ended up with 3 operations on my knee in the last 2 years in my career at Derry, so it was pretty much stop-start. My knee was starting to struggle a bit by then, to be honest with you, and then I'd made the decision to come back and sign with Stenhousemuir back here, which was only part-time, like 2 nights a week training and a game on a Saturday. And again, they were very good with me as well. They would have a wee programme for me for the 2 training sessions and then playing a Saturday. And I felt okay playing on the Saturday, but when you're not training full-time, you can only kind of get away with it for so long, especially with a knee injury. So it was disappointing, but that's just the life of a footballer, unfortunately, with injuries. If you can stay away from knees and ankles, you're doing well. But unfortunately, my knee, near enough given up by that time.
You had played in the European ties against Trabzonspor. How did you find the opposition in Turkey?
By far and away the best. The cup final against the Pats was definitely the best. Like, memory in terms of winning it, but you don't really enjoy cup finals. You only enjoy it, I think, when the final whistle goes. There's a lot of nerves and stuff like that. But with the Trabzonspor game, that was just tremendous. It was my favourite game in my career. Turkey, just everything you would want for a European game, really. Turkish team away from home, packed crowd, plenty of noise, and wasn't like that after about 10 minutes and we were 2-0 down right enough. I thought we were in for a hiding, but fair play as we battled back. We get 2 away goals, as you say, counted at that time, which was good. And we kept the tie alive at 4-2. Still very well, so a big ask against a team the quality of them. But I thought the first half in the Brandywell very even. I think we had a wee half chance maybe just before half time. If we'd maybe got that, you never know. But it's when you start opening up against these teams, that's when the quality, they start picking you off. And I think 3-0 maybe flattered them in the end, But no, that was a terrific occasion. And again, as I say earlier, it's one of the things that I enjoyed with being in Ireland, competing for trophies and playing in Europe. And I was very disappointed the first season because of the ban from Europe, because we'd qualified, even though we hadn't even wanted to win the league. We'd qualified for, I think it was our third place finish, but the way the rules were with UEFA, we weren't allowed into the Europa League at that time. So that was disappointing.
And last question they ask you, Stewart, when you coming back for a visit?
I know I'll need to get back over. I know I keep saying it this year I'll go over and stuff like that. So, and also I've been watching some of the games back here. Still keep a close eye, and the stadium's looking magnificent. Don't know if I'd fancy playing in the AstroTurf pitch right enough. Don't get me wrong, I think it slopes away right enough. But, no, it looks brilliant, and the crowds are looking pretty good as well for what I'm seeing. And I still keep my ear to the ground, and it's good to see. Obviously, last couple of games, kind of know the results that's been required, but still, hopefully another good season. Yeah, definitely need to get back over and see a few old friends.
Well, no doubt, whenever you do visit, you're more than welcome to come up and stand with us at the back of the gantry with Drive 105.
No bother. No, you do a great job. I say, thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the times that I was injured and I missed the far away journeys, it was always on listening to yourselves. So, brilliant.